for me from verse 7 right through to verse 15.
He was bringing up Hadassah, that is Esther, the daughter of his uncle, for she had neither father nor mother. The young woman had a beautiful figure and was lovely to look at. And when her father and her mother died, Mordecai took her as his own daughter. So when the king's order and his edict were proclaimed, and when many young women were gathered in Susa, the citadel in custody of Hegai, Esther also was taken to the king's palace and put in custody of Hegai, who had charge of the women. And the young woman pleased him and won his favor. And he quickly provided her with her cosmetics and her portion of food, and with 7 chosen young women from the king's palace, and advanced her and her young women to the best place in the harem. Esther had not made known her people or kindred, for Mordecai had commanded her not to make it known. And every day Mordecai walked in front of the court of the harem to learn how Esther was and what was happening to her. Now when the turn came for each young woman to go into King Ahasuerus, after being 12 months under the regulations for the women, since this was the regular period of their beautifying, 6 months with oil of myrrh and 6 months with spices and ointments for women. And when the young woman went in the king in this way, she was given whatever she desired to take with her from the harem to the king's palace. In the evening she would go in, and in the morning she would return to the second harem in custody of Shagas, the king's eunuch, who was in charge of the concubines. She would not go into the king again unless the king delighted in her and she was summoned by name. When the turn came for Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her as his daughter to go into the king, she asked for nothing except that what Haggai, the king's eunuch, who had charge of the women, advised. Now Esther was winning favor in the eyes of all who saw her. Thank you for the word.
We thank God for the word. Quickly, the heading that God released upon me as I was studying last night, it said God is about to upgrade your stuff. God says, I had to take Esther from the back without her understanding. And the Bible says in verse 7, she didn't have parents, né? Both parents passed away. Now, God says to me, when I asked him, how do you work around such? He says to me, your past doesn't determine your future. And he says, the reason why I made her queen is because she didn't have parents. There was no one who fooled her. You are gorgeous. No one was there to tell her that. No one was there to revive what God had put in her. For her to grow into that person. But God says this morning to me, He's about to upgrade a lot of people's lives in here. And He says it is well that when 1 or 2 are gathered, He be in the midst, because you never doubt the preaching which it was not for you. Few as we are, I cannot go question what God's saying now. It means it is the word that God released for me to hear. And He says He's about to accelerate the things that you need in your life. The things you've been praying for, the things that God has put on your life. God says He's releasing them. He says He's putting His foot on the accelerator. Regardless of how slow the car may be, if the driver is fast, iyahamba. The anointing of God upon men's life, no one can understand, and no situation can face it. If God could do it for Esther, why can He not do it for you? And it continues on verse 9. It says, when she walked into the palace, favor speedily. The word speedily, if you don't know the fastness of that thing, it's gonna hit you and you're not gonna understand. But the favor of God speedily. went to Esther and she became queen without understanding the position itself, without a background that allows her to be queen. But because the favor of God speedily, as soon as the Bible says, as soon as she walked into the palace, it says it speedily. It didn't say yamela wahlala phansi warelaxa wathandaza waguqa wacela. No, it says immediately when she walked in, it speedily. There's nobody that can do that for you but Christ alone. For God to show himself up as God, he has to speedily some things in your life. For him to be given the glory and being told, you are worthy to be praised, he has to shower you with speedily favor. And I come here, I don't know for who's this, but God says, this week is your week of him speedily. Ooh, God says he's releasing his anointing in your office. He says wherever you walk, the anointing of God, the favor of God will speedily accompany you into your office.
Amen.
And he says you will not understand who gets again. It's because he takes if you've ever been in a bank and you understand quickly, right? Until they say next. But if you get to other banks where they have tellers this side and this side, but if you see how God works, okay, thank you, Holy Spirit. God works like this. He says, I am that person of figure emsebenzini where bangacabanga ukuthi ngizofika. Ngivele mina God in your life. And what I do is I change the tellers. I make the tellers ezingale not to work. Bavule esemva kwakho so that Bati, please just turn around, ma'am. There is your one.
Amen.
God says this week is your week of favor. He says he's speedily giving you favor. He says you will not understand what happened in your life. He says you will not understand but there is favor. If you don't understand it, just praise him.
Amen.
If it makes you cry, just praise him.
Yes.
If it means you are standing in the shower and you have to start praying in tongues, go down and say Librebo Sitele Yamande for him to speedily release your things.
Yes, Lord.
He says he's going to accelerate on the things. There's hamburger walking too. Which I'm taking it all the way to gear 6. And guess what, my child? There's nothing that you're going to lack anymore because I'm speedily.
Amen.
He says I'm taking you to a higher dimension of life. He says you will not understand what happened to you, but I, God, am releasing it. Can we quickly go to Isaiah 58:11 as I'm closing? Please read it for me, sir.
58 verse 11.
Yes.
Isaiah 58 verse 11. And the Lord will guide you continuously and satisfy your desire in scorched places and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail.
When a seed is being planted, look at favor. Ne? When a seed ijalo, you don't understand what is in the inside of it until it blossoms. You can plant a rose and an apple tree at the same time. They're not going to grow at the same time.
Yeah.
So God sent me here to tell the church members, Guti, this seed is being planted on a fertile soil.
Yes, yes.
He says it's been planted on a fertile soil. There is nothing, regardless of the kind of water they use to water the seed, it still has to grow.
Yes, yes.
A seed normally it doesn't understand it feels the anointing overflowing on it. What it knows ukuthi nje iyazi ukuthi my job is ukuvela nge-12 ka-December.
Yeah.
So or we tell amanzi nini, or are we telling? God says, kingdom people. He says that this seed, He planted on a fertile soil. He says, fear not, because He's now speedily.
Yeah.
And I thank Him, Uti, He allowed us to come here, manje, to see His work.
Yes.
Because I bet you next time when I come stand here, it won't be like this.
Yeah.
He says He's here to speedily give you guys favor.
Amen.
He says He's here to speedily give you guys grace.
Yeah.
He says even if you don't thank Him for the grace that He gives you every morning, He'll still give you.
Yeah.
It's because He's the God that we serve.
Yeah.
He's the unfailing God.
Yes.
He's the one, He's the promise keeper.
Yeah.
He's the way, the truth, and the life. The one who plants a seed, I for it to grow. And then He shapes it and prunes it. So God says, if people come join the church and they leave afterwards, don't cry. He says, don't follow them. Don't go beg them. He says, branches that are not needed there. What happens is, use it for other things. So as I go sit down, I want you guys to acknowledge and thank God for the favor of God that He's speedily giving you this season.
Amen.
Thank Him, Muguti, as you are entering into the new season of favor and grace.
Yeah.
He is sufficient and He's the omnipresent God. Regardless of the situations you face, He is speedily giving you favor.
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Yes, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Father.